The twin suns of Lyra Fiv rose over the sprawling city of Aloria, casting soft golden light over the crystal towers that shimmered like 1,000 diamonds. Captain Ethan Cole stood at the edge of the landing platform, his boots clicking softly against the smooth metal floor. The human shuttle had touched down only hours before, and already he could feel the weight of countless eyes upon him. The Lyrians were watching, curious and cautious, their tall, elegant forms blending with the architecture in a way that made them seem like living sculptures. Ethan had faced many challenges in his career as a human explorer, but nothing prepared him for this. He was here on a diplomatic mission, sent to study and learn from the alien civilization known for their advanced knowledge of medicine and science. Yet the rumors he had heard before arriving hinted at a far more urgent matter. A young Lyrian princess, Saralina, had fallen gravely ill. The shuttle doors hissed as they closed behind him, leaving Ethan alone on the platform. He adjusted the strap of his satchel and took a deep breath, trying to steady his nerves. Unlike other humans he had met across the galaxy, the Lyrians carried an air of quiet confidence, of perfection in every movement. They were taller, stronger, and more graceful, and their eyes, large and luminous, seemed to see right through a person. Ethan had expected skepticism, even hostility, but what he saw now was curiosity and a trace of hope. Perhaps the Lyrians sensed something in him, something different from their usual visitors. He straightened his jacket and walked forward toward the grand hall where the princess was kept. Inside the palace, soft music echoed through the halls, a sound that was both alien and beautiful. Ethan's boots made no noise on the polished floors as he passed tall columns carved with intricate patterns of light and shadow. He followed a guide, a young Lyrian scholar named Alien, whose eyes flicked nervously toward the doors ahead. "Captain Cole," Alien said, his voice polite but tense. "The princess. She has been very weak these past days. Our healers have done everything. The disease resists all treatment. Please understand. Your presence here is unusual." Ethan nodded, his mind racing. "I understand. But I am not here to replace your healers. I am here to observe, to learn, and, if possible, to help." Alien's luminous eyes widened slightly. "Help?" he repeated. "You are human. How can you help the princess? Our technology? Our medicine?" He trailed off, shaking his head. Ethan offered a small smile. "Sometimes the solution is not only in technology. Sometimes the answer comes from courage, intuition, or even empathy." Alien said nothing, but he guided Ethan into a quiet chamber at the heart of the palace. There, on a raised platform of crystal and silver, lay Princess Saralina. She was pale, her once bright skin almost translucent under the soft light. Her large eyes, still vivid even in illness, opened briefly to look at Ethan. In that glance he saw both strength and vulnerability. Ethan stepped closer, careful not to alarm her. "Your Highness," he said gently, bowing his head in respect, "I am Captain Ethan Cole, a human from the planet Earth. I have come to offer any help I can." Saralina's lips curved in a faint smile. It was fragile, almost painful, but it was there. "You are far from your home, human," she whispered, her voice soft, yet carrying a quiet authority. "And yet, you have come." "Yes," Ethan replied. "I came because I believe that humans and Lyrians can help each other. Sometimes what is unknown can become the greatest gift." The room was silent for a moment. Alien glanced nervously at the healers who surrounded the platform, their expressions unreadable. They had seen many miracles of science, many cures and treatments, yet nothing had restored the princess. And now, a human, someone they had always considered primitive in comparison, stood before her, speaking of hope. Ethan's attention shifted to Saralina's condition. He noticed small tremors in her hands, the shallow rhythm of her breathing, and the faint glow of the disease that seemed to shimmer beneath her skin. It was unlike any illness he had seen on Earth or in other human colonies. The disease was ancient, born from the cosmic radiation of Lyra V's twin suns, and resistant to both Lyrian medicine and modern human technology. "Can I try?" Ethan asked quietly, more to himself than anyone else. Alien's eyes widened. "Try? But human, you do not understand. This is the princess's life. Any error—" He stopped, unable to finish the sentence. Ethan shook his head. "I do not claim to have all the answers, but sometimes the right approach is not through force or technology, but through connection. Sometimes the touch of one being can awaken something in another." The healers exchanged uneasy glances, unsure whether to protest or allow it. Saralina, sensing the debate, whispered softly, "Let him try. I trust him." Ethan's heart skipped a beat. He did not expect her to speak for him, but her words carried a quiet determination. He stepped closer and knelt beside her platform, careful to meet her gaze. "I promise to do no harm," he said. "I only wish to help." Saralina nodded faintly. Her hand trembled slightly as she reached out, guided by Ethan's steady voice. He took her hand in his, noting how delicate and fragile it felt. There was no magic, no energy field, only the warmth of her skin against his. Yet, in that simple contact, Ethan felt a strange resonance, as if the universe itself had shifted slightly. Time seemed to slow. The golden light of Lyra's suns streamed through the chamber, reflecting off the crystal floors and bathing them in warmth. Ethan focused on Saralina's breathing, matching it with his own. He thought of home, of Earth's oceans, forests, and skies. He thought of human courage, compassion, and resilience. And he let that feeling flow into his touch. A faint glow appeared beneath Saralina's skin, subtle at first, like the first rays of dawn. The healers gasped softly, their eyes widening in disbelief. The disease, which had resisted all treatments, seemed to react, drawing back slowly as warmth spread through her body. Saralina's eyelids fluttered. "What? What is happening?" she whispered. "You are healing," Ethan said softly. "Your body, it's responding." The healers moved closer, watching in awe as the glow intensified, the tremors in her hands fading. Ethan felt a connection that went beyond words, a bridge between human and Lyrian life, built on trust, empathy, and the simple act of reaching out. Hours passed like minutes. By the time the twin suns had begun their descent, Saralina's breathing was steady, her color returned, and her strength gradually restored. The Lyrians around them, once skeptical, now looked on with a mixture of wonder and respect. Alien, unable to hide his astonishment, finally spoke. "Captain Cole, you have done what we thought impossible. You have healed the princess." Ethan shook his head, smiling humbly. "I did not do it alone. She allowed it. And perhaps humans have strengths you have not yet understood." Saralina reached out and touched Ethan's arm gently. "You have given me more than life, human," she said. "You have given me hope." In that moment, the walls that had always separated humans and Lyrians seemed to crumble. Ethan realized that their civilizations, though so different, could learn from each other. Strength was not always measured by technology or power. It could also be measured by courage, empathy, and the willingness to reach out to another being in need. As the suns dipped below the horizon, casting the palace in a warm, gentle glow, Ethan stood quietly beside Saralina. Outside, the city of Aloria began to light up, towers glittering like stars come to rest on Lyra Fee. A new chapter was beginning, not just for the princess, but for the humans and Lyrians alike. Ethan knew that challenges would come. There would be those who doubted him, those who feared the alliance between their peoples. But in this moment, he understood a simple truth. Even across the vast distances of space, even between the most different of species, compassion and courage could change everything. And for the first time, he truly believed that humans, in all their imperfections and resilience, had a place among the stars. The following days in Eloria were a mixture of celebration and tension. Princess Saralina's recovery had been remarkable, yet questions lingered in the minds of the Lyrian Council. How could a human, a species they had long considered primitive, bring healing to one of the most important figures in their civilization? And more importantly, could this strange phenomenon be replicated, or was it a one-time miracle? Ethan walked through the palace corridors, accompanied by Alien, the young Lyrian scholar who had first guided him to Saralina. The two of them moved past the towering crystal columns, their reflections flickering across the polished floors, casting long, shifting shadows. Ethan could feel the weight of the Lyrian gaze, as though every pair of eyes in the palace was following his movements, trying to discern whether he was truly worthy of their trust. "You have done something extraordinary," Alien said quietly, breaking the silence. "Even our most advanced healers, they could not bring her back. And yet you—" He hesitated. "You touched her, and she improved." Ethan shrugged modestly. "I don't know why it worked. Maybe it was courage, maybe empathy, or maybe something else. Humans have certain instincts, things we can't always explain." Alien frowned. "Instincts? We have studied human biology extensively, yet nothing we know suggests humans possess any natural ability to heal at this level. It defies logic." "That's because it's not about logic," Ethan said. "It's about connection. Sometimes, living beings respond to care, trust, and understanding in ways science cannot predict." Alien fell silent, contemplating Ethan's words. After a few moments, he spoke again. "The Council will want answers. They may not accept your explanation. Some of them are suspicious." Ethan's jaw tightened. He had expected this. While the Lyrians were advanced, they were also proud. To admit that humans possessed an ability they did not understand would be difficult for them. Yet he also knew that Saralina's life, and perhaps the future relationship between humans and Lyrians, depended on finding a proper explanation. "I understand," Ethan said. "Then we need to study this. We need to find a way to understand what happened so it can be repeated if necessary." Alien nodded slowly. "There may be a path. Ancient texts speak of a phenomenon called the human touch, a legend older than our civilization itself. It suggests that humans possess a unique ability to influence life through intent and empathy. But it is considered myth, nothing more." Ethan's eyes lit up. "Where can we find these texts?" Alien led him to a vast library, a room so enormous that it seemed to stretch beyond sight. Crystal shelves held countless scrolls, tomes, and digital records, all glowing faintly with a soft blue light. The air smelled faintly of ozone and polished crystal. Here, knowledge was more than information. It was revered, almost sacred. As they searched through the records, Ethan marveled at the depth of Lyrian scholarship. Their history, science, and art were all recorded with precision and care. Yet in the midst of this technological and intellectual brilliance, the idea of humans possessing any special power seemed almost inconceivable. Finally, after hours of searching, Alien pulled out an ancient scroll. Its edges were worn, the script flowing in patterns that seemed alive with movement. "This is it," he said. "The legend of the human touch. It is said that humans, unlike other species, can heal through empathy and intent. But the legend is vague. No Lyrian has ever attempted to test it. Most consider it a myth." Ethan unrolled the scroll carefully. The script was complex, describing energies and connections that he could only interpret metaphorically. It spoke of intent, understanding, and the alignment of consciousness between healer and patient. He read aloud slowly. When a being of great empathy and courage reaches across the divide, life may respond. The touch does not command, it invites. It does not force, it harmonizes. Through trust and connection, the impossible may become possible. Alien's luminous eyes widened as Ethan translated the words into a form they could both understand. "It describes exactly what happened with the princess," he said, "but it is ancient. Humans were always seen as weak and primitive, and yet, perhaps there was truth hidden in myth." Ethan nodded. "Legends often hold fragments of truth. If this is real, then maybe we can understand it, study it, and even use it to help others." For the next several days, Ethan and Alien worked tirelessly. They observed Saralina carefully, noting every response, every fluctuation in her energy. Ethan spent long hours at her side, holding her hand, speaking quietly, focusing his thoughts on empathy, courage, and healing. Each day, her strength improved slightly, her breathing became steadier, and her color returned. Yet the mystery of why it worked, and whether it could work for others, remained unsolved. Meanwhile, whispers spread through the palace. Some Lyrians marveled at Ethan's abilities, others were wary. "A human touched our princess, and she healed," one court member murmured. "What does this mean for our people?" Ethan sensed the tension but focused on the task at hand. He knew that understanding was more important than politics. He had learned long ago that courage and patience were often the keys to solving the most difficult problems. One evening, as the twin suns dipped below the horizon, Ethan sat in the quiet chamber with Saralina. She was awake, alert, and smiling faintly. Her once feeble hands now rested gently in his. "Do you feel it?" Ethan asked softly. "The energy, the connection?" Saralina nodded. "I feel warmth. I feel life. It is unlike anything I have ever known. You are different, human. You carry something powerful, not in your body, but in your being." Ethan smiled. "We humans are simple in many ways. We do not have your technology or your advanced abilities, but we have courage, hope, and the ability to care. Maybe that is what made the difference." Saralina studied him for a long moment. "Then perhaps humans are not as weak as we once thought. Perhaps there is strength in what we do not yet understand." The next day, the Lyrian Council convened in a grand chamber. Ethan and Alien were summoned to explain their findings. The council members, tall and regal, watched silently as Ethan spoke. "I do not claim to have all the answers," he said, "but what I observed is this. Life responds to empathy and intent. When a being of trust and courage reaches out, the body can respond in ways even advanced technology cannot predict. This is not magic. This is connection, understanding, and care." A murmur ran through the council. Some nodded, impressed by his clarity. Others frowned, skeptical of a human claiming insight into Lyrian medicine. Alien stepped forward. "I have studied the ancient texts," he said. "The legend of the human touch is not myth. There is truth in it. And what Captain Cole has done proves that humans may possess abilities we do not yet understand." The council was silent for a long moment. Finally, Saralina, still seated on her restored platform, spoke. "Let there be no doubt. This human has saved my life. He has done what our technology could not. And I believe he can help others. We must learn from him, not fear him." Ethan bowed respectfully. "I am honored, Princess, but I do not act alone. This works because of trust, courage, and connection. Anyone, Lyrian or human, can achieve this with understanding and care." The council deliberated late into the night. By the time they adjourned, a decision had been made. Ethan would work with the Lyrian healers to study this phenomenon further. Together, they would explore the potential of human empathy and connection to heal, to help, and to build bridges between their species. Despite the official approval, Ethan knew that challenges lay ahead. Not everyone would accept humans as equals. Some would view him as an anomaly, a one-time miracle that could not be repeated. And others might seek to exploit or control this newfound ability. Yet as he walked through the palace corridors that evening, Ethan felt a quiet determination. The princess was safe, her life restored, and the possibility of understanding a human gift had opened a door to new hope. He glanced at the twin suns setting over the city, painting the crystal towers in brilliant orange and pink. Human courage and empathy, he whispered to himself. Perhaps that is the true power we carry into the stars. Little did he know, the challenges of Lyra 5 were only beginning. Beyond the palace walls, forces stirred that would test the limits of trust, courage, and the bond between human and Lyrian. Secrets long buried in the stars were waiting to emerge, and the journey of discovery and danger was far from over. But for now, in the quiet chamber with Princess Saralina, Ethan felt a sense of purpose and hope. Together they had taken the first step towards something greater than themselves, a partnership that could change the fate of their worlds and perhaps the entire galaxy. And as the night sky of Lyra Phi filled with glittering stars, Ethan understood that even in the vast expanse of space, the smallest human touch could ignite the greatest light. The palace of Aloria was quiet in the early morning, the soft light of Lyra V's twin suns spilling over the crystal towers. Inside, Princess Saralina's chambers were filled with a calm energy, yet beneath the serenity, tension lingered. Despite her remarkable recovery, the Lyrian healers were cautious. They had never seen anything like the human touch, and many still feared that it might not last, or worse, could have unpredictable consequences. Ethan stood near the window, gazing at the city below. The streets shimmered with reflective crystal, and the citizens moved with their usual grace and elegance. But Ethan's mind was far from the beauty outside. He was thinking about the upcoming experiment, a carefully planned attempt to study the human touch phenomenon under controlled conditions. This was more than just healing the princess. It was about understanding the potential of human empathy, courage, and connection. Alien entered quietly, holding a tablet with detailed notes and observations. "Captain Cole," he said, his voice low and serious, "the Council has authorized a controlled study. They want us to attempt the human touch again, under observation. They are cautious, but curious. Some hope it will confirm what we already saw." Ethan nodded. "I expected caution. This is new for them, but we must proceed carefully. Any mistake could damage trust or worse, harm Saralina." Elian gestured toward the chamber. "Princess Saralina is ready. She trusts you, but she has also agreed to be careful. You must understand, our people are watching closely. Every move will be observed." Ethan smiled faintly. "I understand, and I will respect that. We only need courage, patience, and focus." Inside the chamber, Saralina lay on a soft platform of crystal, her eyes closed in meditation. She had recovered much of her strength, yet the faint glow of residual illness still lingered beneath her skin, a reminder that the disease had not fully left her. Ethan approached slowly, mindful of her presence, and sat beside her. "Princess," he said softly, taking her hand in his. "Today we will try to understand what happened. I will guide you, but I cannot force anything. We must work together." Saralina opened her eyes, which shone with determination. "I am ready, human. I trust you." The room was silent, save for the soft hum of the palace's energy fields. Ethan closed his eyes briefly, centering himself. He thought of Earth, of the forests, oceans, and skies. He thought of human courage, of the countless explorers who had faced the unknown and survived. He focused on empathy, on care, and on the connection he felt with Saralina. He placed his hand gently over hers. The moment their skin touched, a subtle warmth began to flow between them. Ethan's mind reached outward, not with power or force, but with understanding and trust. He imagined Saralina's body responding, her energy harmonizing with his. At first, there was no change. Ethan kept his focus, willing patience and calm. Then, slowly, the faint glow beneath her skin began to shift, like a sunrise breaking through clouds. A soft golden light spread from his hand, traveling along her arm and through her chest. The healers, standing at a respectful distance, exchanged astonished glances. They had seen their most advanced technology fail, yet now, under careful observation, the effect was undeniable. Saralina inhaled deeply, her eyes widening as she felt strength returning to her limbs. I feel it," she whispered. "Something warm, alive." Ethan nodded, smiling gently. "Yes, that is life responding. Trust it, princess. Trust yourself." The glow grew brighter, expanding across her body, but it was gentle, not overwhelming. Ethan felt the connection deepen, a link of shared focus and intention. It was not magic. It was understanding, patience, and empathy made tangible. Suddenly, a tremor ran through the platform. Ethan's eyes opened sharply. "Princess, stay calm. Focus on your breathing." Saralina's hands tightened slightly around his. I am trying. Something resists me." Ethan realized the remnant disease had not completely vanished. It was pushing back, testing the limits of their connection. But he did not waver. He focused harder, letting his thoughts be clear and calm. Every bit of fear or doubt he felt, he replaced with patience, encouragement, and certainty. Minutes passed like hours. The glow stabilized, spreading evenly. Saralina's breath became steady, her color improving. The tremor subsided. Slowly, she opened her eyes fully, and the golden light receded, leaving her looking vibrant and strong. The healers gasped. Alien's eyes shone with wonder. It works again, consistently." Saralina sat up, her strength fully restored. She looked at Ethan with gratitude and awe. "You have done it again, human. I feel whole, stronger than before." Ethan shook his head, smiling. "It is not me alone. You have the strength, too. The connection works both ways. Your trust, your courage, your willingness, it is all part of it." One of the council members, a tall Lyrian named Valon, stepped forward. "Captain Cole," he said cautiously, "your human ability is remarkable, but we must understand it. How does this work? Can it be taught? Can it be shared?" Ethan thought for a moment. "I do not know if it can be taught in the usual sense. It is not a technology, not a procedure. It is understanding, focus, and care. Any being capable of empathy can achieve it, but it requires courage, patience, and trust." Valon frowned. "So it is rare. Not everyone could do this." "Perhaps," Ethan admitted. "But the important part is the principle. Life responds to connection. If we learn to respect it, to work with it, the possibilities are endless." Over the next several days, Ethan worked closely with Saralina and the Lyrian healers. They conducted careful studies, documenting the changes in her health, the glow that appeared under the human touch, and her recovery. Slowly, the Lyrians began to understand what he had said. This was not technology, nor magic. It was human courage and empathy translated into action, a subtle but powerful force. During one study, Saralina turned to him. "Captain Cole," she said, "I feel something when you are near, a warmth, a light, not just in my body, but in my mind. What is this?" Ethan smiled. It is the connection between us, not in words or machines, but in understanding. That is what humans can offer, not just skill, but heart. And sometimes, that is stronger than any machine or medicine. The experiments continued, each day more controlled and careful. The glow spread evenly through Saralina's body, and her strength improved steadily. The healers marveled, taking careful notes. Even the most skeptical members of the council began to show respect. But not all was peaceful. Outside the palace walls, whispers grew among the citizens. Some feared the human influence. Others wondered if humans could become more than allies. Could they become leaders, teachers, or even rulers in a galaxy that had always been dominated by Lyrians? Ethan sensed the tension but chose to focus on the work. The palace could handle politics later. For now, lives depended on understanding this new phenomenon. One evening, as the twin suns set, Ethan and Saralina walked along the palace gardens. The crystal trees reflected the fading light, casting a golden shimmer across the ground. Saralina moved with confidence now, her strength fully restored. "You have changed more than my body, Ethan," she said quietly. "You have shown my people, and me, that courage and empathy have power we never imagined." Ethan looked at her, humbled. "It is not me alone. It is trust, understanding, and connection. If we can teach others to reach across differences, to care for each other, then perhaps the galaxy can become stronger together." Saralina nodded, a determined glint in her eyes. "Then we must continue, not just for me, but for all who may need this. Your touch, your gift, can save more than one life." Ethan realized she was right. The human touch phenomenon was more than a miracle. It was a bridge between species, a proof that courage, empathy, and understanding were forces as powerful as technology. And in the quiet glow of Lyra V's twin suns, he understood that the real challenge was just beginning, teaching others to trust in connection, to see the strength within life itself, and to face dangers that neither humans nor Lyrians could predict alone. As night fell over Eloria, the city glittered like stars on the ground. Ethan looked toward the horizon, thinking of the galaxy beyond, of the mysteries and challenges that awaited. And he knew, deep in his heart, that no matter how vast the universe, the courage and empathy of one human could make a difference that echoed across worlds. The morning light of Lyra Fev spilled over Eloria, painting the city in gold and soft pink. Princess Saralina stood on the balcony of the palace, looking out over the bustling streets below. Her recovery had been complete. Every sign of the illness that had threatened her life was gone, leaving her vibrant and strong. But more than her physical health had changed. The perception of humans among the Lyrians had shifted as well. Captain Ethan Cole approached quietly, stepping beside her. "The city looks beautiful this morning," he said softly. Saralina smiled. "Yes, but more importantly, people are beginning to believe in something new, something they could never have imagined, that humans can bring hope, not just in battle or exploration, but in life itself." Ethan nodded. "It has not been easy. Many are skeptical. Some still doubt. But the proof is here, and your trust helped make it possible." The palace had been filled with a careful energy ever since the council officially recognized the human touch phenomenon. Healers, scholars, and council members had been observing and learning from Ethan and Saralina's interactions, taking notes, and recording every detail. Slowly, a plan was forming, a program to teach Lyrians about connection, empathy, and trust, inspired by human methods. Saralina turned to Ethan, her eyes bright. "I want this knowledge to help others, not just me. There are countless beings across the galaxy who could benefit, but we must be careful. Some may misuse it." Ethan considered her words. "We can teach carefully, step by step. Not everyone can understand immediately, But the ones who do, they will carry it forward, and it will spread, not through force, but through trust. Their conversation was interrupted by Alien, who entered with urgency. "Princess, Captain Cole, there is news from the outer territories. A fleet from a neighboring system has arrived near Lyra V. They request an audience with the Council." Saralina's expression grew serious. "Who are they?" "They call themselves the Corral," Alien explained. "They are a powerful species known for their military strength. They rarely intervene in Lyrian affairs, but their arrival is sudden and unusual." Ethan's mind raced. He had expected challenges, but the arrival of an unknown fleet added a new level of urgency. "We must remain calm," he said, "and we must prepare to demonstrate that trust, empathy, and cooperation can be stronger than fear and aggression." The council convened immediately. Princess Saralina, seated beside Ethan and Alien, addressed the gathering. "The Coral fleet arrives not as invaders, but as observers. They wish to see how Lyrians respond to humans, and perhaps how humans respond to Lyrians." The council murmured in concern. Some were proud of their technology and strength, while others feared that outsiders might exploit their curiosity. Ethan stepped forward. "The human touch is not about dominance or control," he said firmly. "It is about connection, understanding, and courage. If we demonstrate its power, not through force but through empathy, it will speak louder than weapons or shields." After careful debate, the council agreed to invite the Corral ambassadors to the palace. The meeting was arranged with strict protocols, and Ethan was asked to participate, representing humanity alongside Saralina. The day of the meeting arrived. The Corral fleet hovered silently above the city, massive and imposing. Their ships shimmered with a metallic blue light, reflecting the twin suns in intricate patterns. Ethan and Saralina entered the Grand Council chamber, where the Corral delegation waited. Tall and angular, the Corral were unlike any species Ethan had encountered. Their eyes were sharp and their expressions unreadable, but he sensed intelligence and caution in their presence. One of the Corral spoke through a translator device, its voice deep and resonant. "Lyrians, humans, we observe a phenomenon in your society. We wish to understand it before we judge. Show us this power you claim." Ethan stepped forward, his mind steady. "It is not power in the way you think. It is understanding, connection, and courage. It is a way to heal, to support life, and to build trust between beings. Allow me to demonstrate." Saralina placed her hand gently on Ethan's arm. "You will not be alone," she said. "Together we will show them what courage and empathy can do." In the center of the chamber, a small platform was prepared. Ethan and Saralina approached, joined by one of the Lyrian healers who had carefully observed the phenomenon before. A volunteer from the Corral delegation, chosen for the demonstration, stepped forward cautiously. The Corral volunteer was weak, suffering from a chronic energy imbalance that their technology had been unable to correct. The healer explained the condition, and Ethan nodded, focusing his thoughts on empathy, trust, and connection. He placed his hand gently on the Corral volunteer's arm. Saralina mirrored his focus, offering calm encouragement and silent support. For a moment, nothing happened. Ethan felt the weight of thousands of curious eyes, the silent judgment of the council, and the intense presence of the Corral delegation. Yet he remained steady, centering his thoughts on connection rather than fear. Then, a subtle glow appeared beneath the volunteer's skin, soft at first, but growing steadily. A warmth spread through their body, and their breathing became even and calm. The Corral healer stepped back in awe. The light continued to spread, harmonizing with the volunteer's energy until the imbalance was corrected. A stunned silence filled the chamber. Then, slowly, the Corral ambassador spoke. "This is unlike anything we have observed. It is not technology, It is understanding, connection. We did not know such a thing was possible. Ethan removed his hand and stepped back, breathing steadily. The volunteers stood fully recovered, their strength restored. Saralina smiled gently. This is the human touch. It works not because of machines or force, but because life responds to trust, courage, and care. The Chorale ambassadors exchanged quiet words, then nodded in respect. We have observed much today, one said. Humans are not to be underestimated. We will take this knowledge back to our people. Perhaps there is much we can learn from cooperation rather than conflict. The council chamber erupted in quiet celebration. Lyrians and humans alike marveled at what they had witnessed. Ethan realized that this moment would mark a turning point, not only for the relationship between humans and Lyrians, but for the entire galaxy. In the days that followed, the Human Touch program expanded. Lyrian healers began to work closely with humans, studying the phenomenon and learning to understand connection, empathy, and courage. Workshops were held, observations recorded, and knowledge shared across the palace and beyond. The bond between species strengthened. Princess Saralina and Ethan worked side by side, guiding the program and ensuring that it remained a force for good. She marveled at his insight, his patience, and his unwavering focus. And Ethan, in turn, was inspired by her wisdom, courage, and dedication to her people. Together, they formed a partnership built on mutual respect, trust, and understanding. One evening, as the twin suns set, Ethan stood on the palace balcony beside Saralina once more. The city below glittered like stars brought to earth, and the air was filled with a gentle sense of hope and possibility. "You have changed my people," Saralina said softly, "not just with your touch, but with your example. They have learned that courage and empathy are stronger than fear, stronger than doubt, stronger than any weapon." Ethan smiled. "We humans are not perfect," he said, "but we have something special. We care, we hope, and we act when others might hesitate. Sometimes that is all it takes to change the world." Saralina looked out at the horizon, her eyes reflecting the fading sunlight. "Then let us continue, not just here, but across the galaxy. Let this be the beginning of a new era, where understanding and courage guide us, rather than fear or pride." Ethan nodded. "And together, we will face whatever comes. The galaxy is vast, and there will be challenges. But if life responds to empathy and courage, then there is nothing we cannot achieve." As night fell over Lyra 5, the palace glowed softly under the twin moons. The city slept peacefully, unaware of the quiet revolution that had begun, not through conquest, not through technology, but through the courage and empathy of a single human. Ethan realized that the human touch was more than a miracle. It was a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in a galaxy filled with wonders and dangers, understanding, compassion, and courage could change everything. From that day forward, humans and Lyrians worked together, exploring the stars, sharing knowledge, and building bonds that transcended species. The story of Ethan Cole and Princess Saralina became a legend, not because of battles won or empires conquered, but because of the simple, profound truth that life responds to care, courage, and connection. And as the galaxy expanded before them, full of unknown worlds and uncharted paths, one truth remained clear. Even in the vastness of space, one human touch could ignite hope, heal life, and change the destiny of countless beings.